Welcome to a tribute to Lynn, the red panda.
Hello, I'm John Rossi. I'm a touring drummer with a passion for animal conservation. When I'm on the road, I spend as much time as possible visiting zoos, aquariums, and conservation organizations. Now, I want to share those places with you. I'll be talking to keepers, vets, conservationists, anyone who can help me in my mission of connecting my people to animals through their people. Join me on my Rossifari.
Hi, hello, and welcome to a special, though admittedly sad, episode of the Rossifari podcast. News has recently been released on social media that Lynn, the red panda, who was 10 years old, a female, and an incredible mother who lived at the Cincinnati Zoo, has passed away. And while not every animal that I talk about or meet on the podcast can get their own special bonus episode, Lynn really deserved a bit of that. So I want to share some thoughts and then some previously recorded audio with y'all about Lynn the red panda. And of course, her primary keeper, Paul Reinhardt, who, if you've been a fan of the pod for a while, you've heard on here many times. But I know we have a lot of new listeners. And so to give you a background on this, before I started the podcast, I want to say back in 2019, I was playing a gig near Cincinnati. And I went to the Cincinnati Zoo and had the opportunity to meet Lynn the red panda. Now, I had met at this point 2 other red pandas, but this turned out to be one of the most special and defining meetups of my life to that point, and I can honestly say still to this day. There are certain animals, whether they are red pandas or, dogs and cats or whatever, that for whatever reason just tug on your heartstrings in an incredible way. And when I went and met Lynn, I fell so completely in love with her. My heart was just so full that day. And I talk a little bit about that. You're going to hear some audio, like I said, from a previous episode, and I'll let myself tell you a little bit more about that in the moment and how cool of an experience it was. But the best way I can explain it to those of you who listen and know, how I am at zoos is like, I love zoos. I love wandering zoos. Even getting to have all of these incredible, cool behind the scenes experiences and stuff that I get to do, I still just like to go to a zoo and walk around and be a happy zoo person. And my plan for this day when I met Lynn was I went to the zoo. I went almost immediately for my meeting of Lynn, and I was shell-shocked. And I walked out of that little bit of time and I was like, okay, here I am at the Cincinnati Zoo, one of my favorite zoos in the entire world. And I'm going to still walk around. I'm going to go see Fiona and go see Lucille and all the things. And I tried and I couldn't do it, which is weird for me. I literally just... all I could think about was the time that I had spent with Lynn and how incredible it had been. I think I walked around the zoo in a bit of a daze for about 15 or 20 minutes. And then I was like, nah, I'm good, fam. And I peaced out because I just had this incredibly special moment with this animal that was just so intrinsically special. And I mean, she's a red panda. It's not like she told me my future or anything. She was just very there. But as you can tell, I'm having a hard time describing it. And so, back on Thursday, February 15th, I got a text from Paul Reinhardt, her primary keeper, telling me that Lynn had been struggling with some liver issues and they progressed quickly. And the difficult decision was made to euthanize. And he said it was very hard. It was a very Paul text. Paul is not a man of many words, and it was just really interesting to see that and to kind of be able to read the pain that he was feeling. And then I started hearing from other friends at the zoo, letting me know that, Lynn had unfortunately needed to be euthanized. And I want to start off by saying I'm so grateful to the team there for making sure that she didn't suffer and knowing that they could do the right thing. And I'm so grateful that I have such amazing relationships at the zoo that I was able to hear from people and find this out. It's not every day that I get super emotional when an animal passes away, but losing Lynn was tough. She was an absolutely incredible mother. At 10 years of age, she had 10 cubs as her legacy, and was even a grandmother. And it's hard to be at a loss for words when you're recording an audio podcast and trying to share it with people. And I thought of trying to write a script for this, but I was hoping that if I was just authentic about it, and I was hoping that my emotion would be a better tribute to Lynn than any words that I could say, because this is a devastating loss. It's just, she was an incredible panda. She had an incredible spirit. Her bond with Paul was flat out astonishing, which is not surprising because he is amazing. And, that's one of the things, I know I say this a lot on here, but I cannot help but be amazed at the fact that, people like Paul Reinhardt, zookeepers everywhere, all around the country, have these moments where they lose their best friend of 10 years or whatever. And you still have to go and you still have to do the thing that very day. You have to just keep on keeping on because, there are other red pandas and other animals on your string that require your full cooperation and work, and they are literally relying on you for their food and their enrichment and to make sure that they're safe and all those things. And I just find that so amazing. It is one of the most amazing things about the keepers and the job in general that I have ever come to realize during this podcast. And I'm sorry if this is a bit rambly, but even recording this days later, I'm at a loss about this one, y'all. But so what I did was our first season episode with Paul Reinhardt was number 40. And if you want, you could go back and listen to the whole thing. And it's really a beautiful tribute to an incredible human working at the Cincinnati Zoo and to the pandas that were there at the time and everything. But I pulled some clips just talking about Lynn a little bit, and I want to share them with all of you. And there's not a lot. The funny thing about Lynn was, even in an entire episode dedicated to the red pandas at the Cincinnati Zoo, Lynn was just like the rock star. There was nothing to explain, because how do you explain the perfect panda, the perfect mother? We talked about the cubs. We even talked about Kenji, the mate of Lynn at the time. And but Lynn, she came up briefly. It was like, yeah, she's perfect, cool, and we moved on. But to have known her was to have loved her. And so I'm going to let you hear some of that audio from Paul. And this is kind of our way of saying goodbye to Lynn. I do want to say that this was in the early days of the podcast. We weren't even 6 months in yet. And we were also recording on exhibit while wearing masks because COVID. So the audio is not the best. And I had not yet learned all of my neat little processing tricks that I have since learned. But take a listen and just hopefully this helps y'all reconnect with this gorgeous, wonderful panda. I miss her so much. We We start off here talking about my visit to the zoo and meeting Audra and Lenore, the twins that are still at the zoo that were Lynn's progeny. When I was here last summer, I had the incredibly unique opportunity of seeing them in the nest box.
Oh.
When they were not moving yet, really. And the person who brought me back and was being super kind to me said, I will open the nest box. You can't, take pictures. You can't do anything.
Right.
And you're not going to see their little faces because they would always sit with their butts towards the door. Yeah. And she opened the door, and there were two perfect little faces with tongues out, and I almost died.
Too bad you didn't sneak a picture there. I'm interested to hear who brought you back. If it doesn't matter. More and more, I really love opening up opportunities for people to see youngsters. When I was a youngster here and we had babies, you absolutely couldn't hardly breathe around them. You almost had to hold your breath when you were close to them. But I got to say, Lynn, who we're going to meet in a little bit, is just a phenomenal mother. She is just incredible. And she's so, she makes parenting look so easy.
So tell me what it means to be a good mother as a red panda.
Oh, let's see. For her, it's there's a word I always use. It's not complicated for her. She absolutely bonds with those cubs initially, doesn't come out of the nest box. I keep saying she makes it look easy, or she's not easily upset unless male comes down or a little bit of a bark or anything like that happens. She's right on top of it.
As a quick explanation of some of the noises you're going to hear right at the beginning of this segment, when we first got into the exhibit, Lynn was being a little shy and hiding, and Paul called her and then accidentally spilled some apples on the ground, which, although it was a mistake, was really fortuitous because Lynn immediately came to get those apples. So you'll hear that, which is pretty entertaining. Okay, here's that segment of the interview.
Come on, Bubba. Come on, Bubba.
Oh, hey, Lynn. That pretty girl.
Oh, gosh. Look at that. How dumb. Well, there you go. She's going to come out.
She is interested. All right, so this is world-famous mother Lynn, huh?
Yes, world famous. She's my star. Lynn was born here. She's, I want to say, 8 years old. She might be 7 now. She had 5 litters of cubs. There you go. They're not the smartest things in the whole wide world when it comes to finding their own food, so it doesn't surprise me that they switched over to bamboo that's everywhere.
Right.
So 5 litters of cubs. Have you ever heard that females tend to, when they're breeding, they tend to start to drop off breeding at about age 8?
Mm-hmm.
You have?
Yes, I have.
So she's like right around, I swear she's 8 years old now. So I've hopefully been convincing people to let her continue to breed each year. She does fine with it. She maintains great weight. For me, I'd like to really see how long she'll go. She bred from the first year opportunity, and she bred every year since. So.
That's amazing. And what is the first opportunity? Is that 2, maybe 1?
That is, they breed when they're 18 months.
Okay.
And then they give birth when they're 2 years old.
Okay.
To me, that's just fascinating.
Yeah.
And I think people have learned that by accident over the years. But it is very precise. And I've had panda keepers say, oh, we didn't put them together because she's not old enough. Well, she's 18 months. She's old enough to breed. And give birth at 2, and it's natural. They want to breed. Even animals that don't get along in a zoo or in human care will breed with animals with a male that. Let's go, buddy. Let's go, little tiger. Oh. Here comes Lucas. He'll climb right on top.
Oh my goodness. Hi, baby. Hello.
You just got to be careful. There you are, Lynn.
That's amazing.
She's the champion of picture taking.
Yeah, she's a queen. You can tell. She's just amazing. Hi, Ben.
I don't know. I usually don't tell people I love animals, but I absolutely love her.
Right.
Get out, man.
Oh, what a good girl you are. Who's the best girl?
Get me in there, too. So,
amazing.
there you go. So, there you go.
Well, there you have it, folks. A little look at the life of Lynn and a little reminder of how amazing Paul Reinhardt is, and really how amazing all the people that do this work are, because, it's not easy, and it's got a lot of compassion fatigue and a lot of challenges, and you spend your time with these animals, and then something happens, and, you just have to keep going, like I mentioned when I was talking before. I just want to say thank you to the Cincinnati Zoo for being an amazing partner with Rossifari since the very beginning, and to Paul for being a good person and a good friend. And last but not least, I guess I just want to take a minute and say goodbye to Lynn. Thank you, sweet girl, for just being one of the most amazing animals and helping me realize that what I'm doing here and what we're all in this conservation and zoo world trying to do in our own ways, that it really does matter, and that they're really, really special animals out there. I will miss you dearly, sweet girl.
The Rossifari podcast is produced, hosted, and engineered by John Rossi. Editing and fact-checking by John and Dr. Zoe Rossi. Our theme song is Sevens by Nathan Burke, performed by Nathan and John. Interrupting John theme and additional voices by Taylor Isaac Gray. You can reach John directly on Instagram and Facebook at Rossifari, or by email at rossifaripod@gmail.com. Rossifari is part of the Daydreamer Media Network. Now, stop listening to me and go visit a zoo.